Put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DQ presents the Blizzard Double Flip Deal. For a limited time, when you buy one Blizzard treat, you get a second for just 99 cents. That's 2 Blizzards, 2 spoons, 2 flavors, and 2 flips. So don't miss out on the Blizzard Double Flip Deal, available only for a limited time and happening now at DQ. Because the only thing better than a Blizzard treat is a second Blizzard treat for just 99 cents. It's a deal to flip for. The Blizzard Double Flip Deal. Participation may vary.
Padres Red Sox tomorrow.
Gonna go! Home run, Xander Bogaerts!
Pre-game 10:10 a.m. First pitch 11:10 a.m. The Padres play here on 97.3 The Fan.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
This is Manny Machado from the San Diego Padres.
Machado into second with his second double in as many innings.
The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, and Odyssey Sports Station. It's time to talk Padres baseball.
This place is electric.
Our 97.3 The Fan staff is together to break down everything, both on and off the field, with the San Diego Padres in our commercial-free Epic Padres Roundtable, sponsored by Epic Wings. Buckle up, Friar Faithful. We've got a lot to discuss. Now, here's your host, Ben Higgins.
We are back, Padres fans, in a new time slot with new guest panelists and a brand new sponsor, but the same commercial-free Padres talk, essential for baseball fans in San Diego. Welcome to our Epic Padres Roundtable. I am Ben Higgins, and I've got a cast of characters ready to talk an hour of Padres baseball. Let's introduce everybody. Start with Matthew Scraby on the end. Hello. From our afternoon program. My co-host in the morning, Stephen Woods.
Hi, Benji.
Right next to me, Chris Ello from the Gwynn and Chris program.
Morning.
Good morning. And our guest panelist this week, sports anchor at NBC7 here in San Diego, my counterpart, as it were, Darnay Tripp. Darnay, good to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Good to see you. Excited to be part of the first Epic Roundtable of the season. Appreciate you guys having me.
Let's thank our brand new sponsor. We are so excited to have Epic Wings on board. The Epic Padres Roundtable, sponsored by Epic Wings, always fresh, never frozen. We got a spread of food. I had about one bite before I had to sit down and start, but I cannot wait to dive into the wings. San Diego institution, legendary wings. We had them in studio, I think a week or two ago. Absolutely fantastic, and we are so glad that they're going to be on board with us all season long as we talk Padres baseball. Glad that they got the win, obviously, over the Giants to avoid getting swept, but I think the discussion after the first week is not necessarily a positive one for the San Diego Padres. So let's start, just kind of take the temperature of the panel. We'll start with you, Chris, on a kind of scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not concerned at all, 10 being very worried about your San Diego Padres. What is your level of concern after 1 week of the 2026 baseball season?
Okay, so I think, so 10 would be I'm very concerned.
Yeah, kind of panicked about the Padres.
Okay, I'm a 1.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to overblow 6 games. I looked at some really bad starts yesterday before the game in case they went to 1-5 because I wanted to be prepared. I saw that the Brewers started 0-4 last year and gave up 47 runs in their first 4 games. They ended up with the best record in baseball, so I don't think you can overreact at all. That said, I wasn't thrilled with the first homestand. Let's be honest, they were 7-0 at this point last year when they went on their first road trip. So 2-4 is certainly not good.
Let's bring in Darnay. And I agree with Chris. I don't think the number 3-3, 4-2, 2-4 makes a real big difference this part of the season. it's what we've seen on the field. The pitching concerns, the lack of slug from most of the lineup. Where do you kind of fall on your concern level so far, Darnay?
Yeah, I think maybe a tick or two higher than Chris. And like you said, it's how it looks along the way. And Tuesday did not look good. Tuesday looked bad in a number of facets, whether it's German Marquez, sloppy in the field, the continuing struggles of the lineup. But then Wednesday happens, and Wednesday felt like a game you could see, like a performance you could see from this team throughout the season. Like offensively, they're good, but it wasn't anything, so out of the ordinary that you're like, is this sustainable? They got contributions up and down the lineup. They got a really solid start from Nick Pivetta, and the bullpen was good. And you feel like that could be a formula for this team. So I think any concerns I had from kind of a sloppy, disjointed appearance Tuesday eased a little bit on Wednesday, but we got to see them kind of put it together day in and day out, because that's been a struggle so far.
Woods, I've known you 8 years. You're kind of one of the toughest ones to read, because sometimes you're susceptible to early panic, and sometimes you're really easy and smooth and like don't let it bother you. So what do you feel like after
sensing a little panic?
No, I was fine until the bloodlust started after I was actually like, guys, it's 6 games, it's 5 games, whatever. And then it's like, I'm tired of this I hear this every year from you idiots. It's early. And then I start thinking about it, and I'm like, well, they actually do look kind of terrible. But as far as level of concern, no, I mean, I said it the other day. I was like, there's 157 games at that time to go. Eat 157 donuts and tell me that's not a lot. Smoke 157 cigarettes in a row. Like, tell me that's not a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. There's a lot of time to right the ship. Now, when you look on the field and you go, yeah, but Walker Buehler's going to be starting every 5th day. German Marquez is going to be starting every 5th day for now. You do know that there's reinforcements in the wings. That always feels good to know. But it was a bit uninspiring for the opening homestand.
Matt, what about you? Kind of the 1 to 10 scale of level of concern.
I'm a 4.
You're a 4? Okay,
yeah,
4. Yeah.
I would say a 3. It would have been.
He's a liar. He's a 13.
No,
I did the show with him
yesterday. 3 until yesterday, or I would have said higher until yesterday, because Nick Pivetta showed that he is still Nick Pivetta. We're going to be fine with that. The one thing that I cannot get past is that the at-bats look exactly like last year. And I'm not saying they don't have life, but they're kind of lifeless, and they just go up there and kind of flail. It just doesn't seem like there's any sort of plan. I don't know. Do you guys feel that the at-bats feel exactly like last year at the end of the year?
I think yesterday was one of those games where, you're going to have games, I think, where you hit the ball hard and don't win, right? You're going to scorch the ball. It's going to go right in the guy's gloves. You're going to hit the ball hard on the ground. They're going to make plays. Yesterday, we got really lucky with our first 2 runs. We're very lucky. Now, they hit later in the game. But, I'm with you a little bit. I see a little bit of the wet newspapery. Crony got a little long yesterday. Xander gets a little Matt Carpenter-ish sometimes. Manny certainly will just flail up there sometimes. So it's a little bit of cause for concern. You also know that those guys have a track record of producing.
Yes.
And you do feel their numbers will be there at the end of the year. But it's hard day by day to watch that sometimes.
Let me follow up on what Matt said, because I'm glad we have some new perspective coming in with Darnay, because we've been talking about the quality of Padres at-bats for years now, and no one's ever really defined exactly what we're looking for. I mean, you want results. You don't really care what it looks like if the results come. I think, to me, Darnay, the one thing that is consistent year to year, and that maybe Matt is trying to kind of point, the Padres do not lift the ball with power consistently. They hit the ball hard on a line a lot, but sometimes that works great, and sometimes it turns into outs and double plays, and when you see that, you get really frustrated. But they do not pull the ball with lift consistently, really at all. Ramon Laureano, maybe one of the reasons he's so valuable is ever since he got here from the trade deadline, he actually pulls the ball in the air to left field at Petco Park. They need more of their right-handed batters to do it. Manny, gap to gap, great, but that means a lot of deep flyouts to center field. Tatis has been going more the other way, which usually is a good thing, but that means the power numbers are down. What do you kind of see out of the at-bats from the Padres? Not just this year, but go back a year or two as well.
It's funny because, I feel like even around like 2020, we were talking about being more impatient with our at-bats and grinding counts and making pitchers work and that sort of thing. Then we got to like, well, they're looking at so many good pitches. They're taking too many good pitches. They need to be more aggressive. And so I feel like we're also trying to figure out like what we want, and the pendulum swings too far one direction and then another. Out of curiosity, I looked at Savant yesterday, and I think they had the lowest launch angle in all of Major League Baseball, and it was like 6 degrees, which tells you there's probably a lot of balls going in the dirt, right? And you guys just had Saracen. I remember talking to him last year about pull side power. They need pull side power. It's such a simple thing, but we didn't see that as often from Tatis and Manny and company last year. And I think that's one of the things. Do we know that yet for this season? I don't know. I saw some pull side power from Fernando Tatis Jr. during the WBC, and that was incredible. And so I think that's one of the things we have to maybe give it a little bit of time with this new hitting staff to see if that becomes more of this team's DNA, because we've seen the importance of that because of the lack of it last year.
And no hitting coach on the planet is ever going to go up there and tell you, hey, look to pull, look to pull, right? Like look to pull. No, it's hard middle, it's oppo, and you'll end up pulling a lot of balls. That mistake, a sinker leaks back over the plate. Laureano puts a brilliant swing on it, and you pull it. But no hitting coach on the planet is going to be like, you guys need to go up there trying to rip this ball down the left field line. Nobody.
And remember, in the WBC, wasn't all major league caliber pitchers.
Yeah.
It was pitchers that hadn't really gotten ramped up yet. You start the season, Padres have faced a bunch of aces. It gets even harder to pull guys like Tarek Skubal and Framber Valdez when you face them. I also, Darnay, find myself on that Savant page. If Padres fans don't do it, StatCast search, you can go and it'll give you real time, the exit velocities, the pitch speeds of all the players. It's a funny tool. Chris, you're a numbers guy. When I go on that page and I will sort like through the game, the Padres almost always have more hard hit balls than their opponents, but it rarely seems to lead to the good things that you would think that it should lead to. They hit the ball hard, but as Darnay just pointed out, 6-degree launch angle, it's not going in the air enough.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hit more. You got to hit more balls where they throw the ball to Casey Schmidt.
Yes,
yeah, that seems to be their best offense yesterday, honestly.
100%.
And I hate taking a shot at an Aztec, but when one needs to be taken, you can't miss that. And Matt Chapman spoke for everybody in the stadium when he said, "Catch the ball."
I hated that, by the way, from Matt Chapman. We talked about this morning.
Really?
I think that the last thing a teammate needs at that point is to be called out publicly. Casey Schmidt already knows that he screwed up and feels bad. The last thing a teammate should do is then verbally, in front of 45,000 people, pretty obviously call out his own teammate publicly.
Do you think
that's bad leadership?
Do you think that's some sort of maybe a motivation that Matt Chapman knows that if he gets in his face and kind of tells him that he needs to get it together, he will?
Yeah, but he knows he needs to get it together.
Does Matt Chapman
knows
think
he's
that
got to make those.
Casey Schmidt was falling asleep over there? Or like, I'm sure Casey Schmidt wanted to catch those balls, and for whatever reason he didn't. But I doubt Matt Chapman yelling at him is going to help him on the next ball that's coming over.
Yeah, it wasn't poor effort, right? Like if poor effort is one thing. Like if you want to get in a guy's face about poor effort, okay, I think even the skipper would.
So you say it's okay to like yell at O'Neal Cruz when the ball goes under his glove and he turns around and watches it roll to the fence?
I think
that's fair.
I think it's fair to question someone's effort, right? Their effort, and not their. Like, hey, man, I tried to make that play. I missed it. I booted it. Matt Chapman has booted balls and
not many
before. Not many.
But I agree with you 99% of the time on this, but I can understand the guy's frustration.
Oh, he was pissed. Yeah,
I mean, come on, man. He's a Gold Glove player who made 2 really good plays, and both times his first baseman just boxed it up. I really can understand in that moment, and I bet you Matt Chapman apologized to him later.
He did. He said after.
So. Yeah. I could just see in that moment as a competitor, you're like, come on. That's the easiest part. On the second one, Casey Schmidt just stretched before the ball got there, so he couldn't reach up and catch it.
Crazy.
And I mentioned this yesterday. Everybody thinks first base is anyone can play it.
Right.
Casey Schmidt proved that's not true.
Yep.
There's something to it.
Much harder.
Darnay, any thoughts on the Matt Chapman, Casey Schmidt encounter before we move on?
I think I probably agree with you. Like, he's a professional baseball player that feels terrible in that moment. And you got to think the heat of the moment for Matt Chapman as well. Like, we've all been frustrated and said things that we probably understand like that's not the best move in that moment. And so it might be a little bit of both. But I think, from a leadership standpoint in that moment, is that the right way to handle it? I would say probably not.
I think it proves that Tony Vitello has lost the clubhouse, though, already. And there's a huge problem going on in San Francisco.
Can we talk about him real quick with
Sure.
one thing he did yesterday? And I don't know all of your line of questioning. Sorry, Ben. Did we sense that he pulled a fast one in the 8th inning yesterday? Did he admit to it? No. Do we give him credit for, being a gamesmanship?
I will say.
Or do we think it was a cheap move?
All right, what are you talking about?
Right, for those who don't know what we're talking about, when he came out and brought the trainer with him to take Buteau out of the game, it was obviously needed to take Buteau out of the game. He couldn't throw a strike, but he didn't have a pitcher ready. So he brought his trainer out, made it seem like Buteau was hurt, so his reliever could have full, as many warm-up tosses as he wanted. I didn't like because it happened to my team, but I thought it was pretty smart for a guy that's not supposed to know what the hell he's doing.
I will say I saw that his velo had dropped by 4 miles an hour. Maybe there was something. He was wild, man. He was as wild as could be. And again, Padres got lucky in that sense that he was all over the zone.
But I really don't like it because
so you didn't like it. You
as Craig Stammen said after the game, I get the strategic. You're trying to win a game and do what it takes. But as he said, it caused the Padres then to worry about Mason Miller and how long he was sitting down.
But why does Vitello care about that? He doesn't.
He doesn't.
He probably wants that.
Yeah, but I don't like anything that you're doing that's outside of the rules that is potentially endangering the health of any player on the field.
College baseball coach,
your team or another team.
Have you ever watched college baseball before?
That's
the whole game. The whole game is just doing Bush League stuff.
I don't know if you guys remember Rich Hill when he coached at USD. He was famous for calling timeout before any of the speed up rules and having a conversation with his batter in the middle of a count for like 10 minutes.
Insane.
And nobody would stop him from doing it. And the pitcher would be just standing on the mound.
Just dying.
So you're right when it's a college thing. Let me throw one more thing, and I'm sorry we got off subject, but the hell, it's our first try.
We've got an hour. We've got no commercials. This is great.
It's an epic show.
Yeah.
Come on. I saw this in a Aztec women's basketball game a couple weeks ago. There was a foul. It was contested. They went to replay. It was a long review. Everybody kind of forgot what was going on. The officials decided, yes, it was a foul, 2 free throws. The other team, late in the game, sent up a better free thrower than the person who should have been shooting.
Thinking no one would notice?
The refs didn't notice.
Wow.
And on
Priscilla noticed, I bet. Were you screaming?
But I wasn't broadcasting that game. I was courtside. I couldn't yell. But our coaches did pick it up as the first free throw was being shot. The referees corrected it. I felt it really should have been an unsporting technical foul on the coach or the player. They didn't rule anything. The question, though, becomes, if they got away with it and made those 2 free throws and won the game, is that crossing the line? Or is it what you just said? Come on, man, the spirit of the game, that's not right to do that.
Kind of like do what you can get away with, and if they get you, they get you. If they
say
don't,
if you're not cheating, you're not trying thing. So where does the line supposed to be drawn there?
There's a lot of those little edges, and you do see it in college baseball a lot. I mean, a lot. You see some plays where you're like, dude, come on, man, let's get this thing going here. And it's this gamesmanship. It's all of it. Bro, you see it in Little League, all right? You see it everywhere you go. Baseball has some tendencies.
And you can never prove that Buteau was or was not.
Right.
Yeah, force him to get a CAT scan and an MRI after the game. Look at that. It's clean.
Yeah.
You were absolutely cheating.
But you know what? There was some talk when on opening day, Aaron Boone did not bring the lineup out for the Yankees. He sent his bench coach out. And a lot of people were saying that was Aaron Boone's way of welcoming Tony Vitello to the major leagues and saying, you ain't in the club yet.
Wow. I didn't even.
So there's a lot of little, who knows if that was really
Baseball's
true.
mad about Tony Vitello. All the guys who put in their time in the minor leagues, and then this guy comes from college. They're not happy about it. Loving the energy here on the Epic Padres Roundtable. Maybe it's the wings. The Roundtable, sponsored by Epic Wings, always fresh, never frozen. Try their new sweet and spicy maple sauce, available for a limited time only. All right, let's talk about the new manager of the Padres now that the games are actually underway. It's a very different animal than spring training. Darnay, I'll start with you. Give me your early evaluation of Craig Stammen as manager.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated score at this point. I think there's been some moments that, leave you scratching your head a little bit. I think a lot of what he said yesterday, I think even the willingness to go to somebody on his staff and say, what idea do you have for the lineup? I think that's one of the things that you've heard about Craig Stammen: relationships, delegating, not having to be the biggest voice in the room, kind of a more collaborative approach than maybe what we saw in the past. I don't know if we can really say, but I think that was good from Craig Stammen, and a little bit illuminating as well. Look, he's been perfectly honest that he's going to take some lumps, and there's going to be a lot for him to learn. And he acknowledged that again yesterday, and he's not afraid of kind of those moments that maybe we saw Tuesday with Kyle Hart going out for a third inning in the sixth. And so I think there's going to be, again, patience with the lineup, patience certainly with Craig Stammen. Again, there were a couple instances Tuesday. I think the Kyle Hart situation. He also said a couple points after Monday and Tuesday, and if this is a Stammen thing or a larger kind of coaching staff thing, that Logan Webb and Landon Roop changed the game plan on them.
Yeah,
and they pitched differently than they expected. 2 games in a row against 2 starters that they're familiar with, all of that. Now, Steven Souza, I don't know if he's game planned for Logan Webb before. So is that a preparation thing? Did you have bad prep, or are you not able to adjust in the moment when you're seeing Logan Webb after maybe, not the best Logan Webb start to the game, start to spam you with 4-seamers, something that you wouldn't expect from him? Do you have that ability to adapt? And so I think that's going to be the thing that I'm curious about, because you've heard him talk about game plan, script, that sort of thing. You could even say that with Jeremiah Estrada. What was that on Friday? What's the ability to adapt and to adjust at what is thrown at you? Because I think it's easier as a manager to say, hey, we feel really good about our game plan and we're going to stick with that. But, what's the famous Mike Tyson line?
Everybody's got a plan.
When you get punched in the face, how do you adapt? And I think that's the area where we haven't seen it yet from Craig Stammen early on. It's been a week.
Woods, you kind of bristled earlier this week at what you called, I don't know, the post. Bristled at the post deification of Mike Schilt now that he's gone. Man. Now, Mike Schilt did often say, we need to be elite adjusters. That was one of his catchphrases over 2 years. I don't know that they lost it in a week, but as it relates to Craig Stammen filling in, it's definitely been different than the last 2 years under Mike Schilt.
The jury's out, obviously. I don't know. I don't know what I think of Craig Stammen as a manager yet. I really don't. I go back and forth. Weird. But I'll watch him one game, and I'm like, this guy has no idea what he's talking. He's over his skis, man. He doesn't sound like a leader. He doesn't fit it. Then the other part of my brain goes, well, yeah, man, it's been 5 days. Who cares? Of course, I love that he's even keel and he's not, squeezing the wheel when he's driving home. I like that part about him. So the jury's out. What's going to speak loudest at the end of the year is his record. And, the Mike Schilt pedestal from last year, people forget. They got off to a hot start, but, elite adjusters, elite defenders, they're about a middle of the road team defensively last year. The bunting, all the small ball crap, don't have such a short memory.
That's the biggest difference in my mind with Mike Schilt, for good or ill. He could not leave the game at the ballpark. No. He wore it at home all night, his whole life. Yep. It ate away at him, and maybe you want that in a manager. Craig Stammen told us last Friday, after the first game, they lost. He washed it off, went to his kids' Little League game, had a great time after the game. Matt, are you okay with Craig Stammen admitting, I might not be very good at this right away? He said that. He said, why would you expect me to be very good at this? I'm just starting. Is that on Craig Stammen? Is that on AJ Preller? Or is this just being wise and being patient on Craig as he learns?
I love that Craig is not afraid to say he doesn't know it. In certain situations that he has to ask other coaches what to do. He has to go to Randy Knorr to get the lineup. I love that about him. And I think we're just going to have to deal with the fact that he is learning how to be a manager during a season. He has no experience being a manager or a coach. I also think that he needs to maybe not listen to his inner pitcher when he's leaving guys out there a little bit too long,
Yeah.
because pitchers always think they're going to get the guys out.
Yep.
And so I like the fact that he left Randy Vasquez in there the other day. Even Randy turned back towards the dugout like shades of the past, like is Mike Schilt coming to get me? But and that worked out. Kyle Hart, Jeremiah Estrada, didn't work out. But I think throughout the year, he's going to figure out, maybe I need to get my inner pitcher to a little bit further down and get the manager up.
Well, my good friend Chris Ello here was a college pitcher. Did you always think you were going to get the next batter out, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, no, 90% of it. There were days when I couldn't get anybody out, and I couldn't wait to get off the mound, a la Buteau yesterday.
Does Craig Stammen's managerial style seem like it has a bit of a pitcher's mentality
Well,
to it?
it's too early.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think I like that point that Matt's bringing up. I mean, he can't help but think of it from the mind of a pitcher. I don't have a rating for Craig Stammen yet. Like Woodsy, I see him answer some questions, and I go, yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah.
And then I see some other questions. I'm like, that's not what I wanted to hear. So I'm not ready to decide. Scraby and I did come up with one thing yesterday that I do believe in the first 6 games is managerial malpractice, and it needs to be taken care of, like starting tomorrow. If you have a 1 or 2 run lead in the 8th inning, and you have a Gold Glove first baseman sitting next to you on the bench, he needs to be in the game. And I'm sorry, but Gavin Sheets needs to come off the field. I don't want to lose a game because Casey Schmidt dropped throw.
Yeah.
I have a Gold Glove first baseman. I don't know how long Ty France can be on this roster.
Use him.
I hope, but let's use him while we have him. We are not great at first base. When Laureano's not in the game, we're not great in left field. So these are areas that he's got to manage. If you're going to play Castellanos, I don't want to see it too often. If you're going to play, whether Andujar goes out or even Sheets, got Bryce Johnson. Get him in the game to protect the lead. That's simple stuff.
Yeah, we talked about it, Woods, earlier this week. I mean, last year, Gavin Sheets was forced into everyday duty because they didn't have anybody else, even against lefties. Right now, with the abundance of backup options, Gavin Sheets should never or almost never even have to face a left-hander. As soon as they bring a left-hander out of the bullpen,
that's it.
Go to a pinch hitter, then you go to Ty France defensively, and you still have another backup first baseman on some days as well after that because you're just overloaded on that side of the field.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's a really good point. And maybe he does get to that ball down the line yesterday. And I realized game's out of reach at that point. It didn't really matter. But it will at some point. There will be that opportunity for Ty France to knock that ball down, flip it to the pitcher, and there's your first out of the inning.
It's our Epic Roundtable brought to you by Epic Wings, always fresh, never frozen. Matt Scraby, Stephen Woods, Darnay Tripp from NBC7, Chris Ello, and Ben Higgins with you. All right. I think we all agree that the back of the rotation so far is a legitimate concern. Chris, I'll start with you on a pitching question here. How much more do we need to see from Walker Buehler and German Marquez before the Padres need to start dipping down and trying JP Sears again? Matt Waldron's getting close on his rehab assignment. What's the level of rope for the back end of the rotation?
I think Walker Buehler's got a few more starts. I really wasn't that concerned with him. He got beat by the 7, 8, 9 hitters in that game. I trust that he'll figure that out. He handled the rest of those guys. Second time through the order was a little tougher for him, but I just don't think he's been in that situation enough in recent years. I'm fine with Walker Buehler for the month of April. I don't expect any more out of Marquez than what we saw the other night. I like this guy at one time in his career, and he caused a lot of problems for the Padres. Oh, yeah. But I don't see it happening for him. If Griffin Canning were healthy tomorrow, he would get the number 5 spot. Same with Musgrove, and I would even consider Waldron. Marquez is pitching to save his career, like next time out. I hate to be that dire, but that's kind of where I'm at with him.
Woods, we heard Ruben Niebla say they liked what they saw from German Marquez. Yeah. I always like to trust Ruben Niebla, but from what I've seen, if everything is working for German Marquez, he can get some swing and miss with his curveball. He might survive a game or two, but those pitches did not look like major league competitive pitches.
No, they didn't. And I talked to a couple people in the organization when they got him, and they said, man, we looked at his usage in Colorado, and he was throwing, fastball too much. We're lean on the knuckle curve, and boy, he leaned on the knuckle curve, but that thing was floating up there. And I thought, he's floating it in Arizona. That's going to happen. He gets to Petco, he'll be fine. big cavernous ballpark, and the next thing you know, you look up, it's 3-0, and you're like, this has not gone well. So you can change your guys' pitch mix all you want. They still got to go out and execute with the new game plan, and he just didn't. And I just don't know. I mean, I'm with you, man. Like, I kind of feel like it's make or break. But Ruben looked me in the eye and was like, I'm telling you, I like this guy. I'm high on this guy. But, Ruben is human as well. So people make mistakes, people miss. And I do think with reserves coming up soon, I feel okay giving him one more.
Darnay, do you share Chris's at least somewhat
one more
optimism about
we're tough, man.
Was that optimism?
About Walker Buehler?
About Walker Buehler? Yeah, I think so. They didn't lose on Monday because of Walker Buehler. Like, Walker Buehler was fine. It didn't blow you away. I don't think anybody left that like, okay, now I feel really good about Walker Buehler. But Walker Buehler was not the problem. And so I would give him time. He's, while some of kind of the underlying numbers weren't great, like, he had a decent finish to his 2025 season. And, now he's figuring it out as a Padre and a new staff in a different place. And so, I would give him time. Marquez, he had an encouraging last, 2 starts to spring training. There's a lot of swing and miss there. And so I think there was some reason to think, okay, maybe this would be a serviceable guy. So, I'd maybe give him 2 more starts. We'll see. We'll see how dire it is.
Don't look at me. Woodsy's getting him out before he even
one and done
gets out of the hotel room.
I was actually saying if you don't like his throw session in between this first start and the second start, I don't know that you can put him back out there. And I'm not an overreactor.
Right. Yeah.
I just didn't see a pitcher that I thought was going to be able to get big league outs in that first
The problem
start.
is, like, when everybody knows that you're relying on something like the knuckle curve, and they're sitting on the knuckle curve and that thing isn't moving quite as it should, then that's a pitch that, as we saw, can get you in a lot of trouble.
But can we all agree? I'll let Matt answer for the panel here. That if they get out of Walker Buehler and German Marquez one starter who is fine over the course of the year for the investment of $1 million or whatever on the 2 of them, that's actually a win. You don't need them both. You get one of those 2, sticks around the rotation, gives you 5 innings, 2 runs, 3 runs, from time to time. That's actually a win for the Padres.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Everything for the Padres, it seems like, is how can we get a really great guy for as little money as possible? So if you're going to get one of the 2, that's fine. I think it's going to be Walker Buehler because obviously we don't really see it with German Marquez, but they're not throwing stuff at the wall, but they have lots of options. And so I'm not really worried about that, but I do think one of the 2, if they succeed, that's pretty good for the Padres.
I'll be honest, when I think I speak for everyone, they could call up in his prime Tom Seaver and bring Jim Palmer in. If they're going to score 1 or 2 runs every game, really not going to matter who's pitching.
That is true.
No, it's 2 or 3 until yesterday.
I know. Well, did you know that they had not? I saw this. You probably saw it too. Had they scored 3 or less yesterday, it would have been the first time since their expansion season of 1969 that they went the first 6 games without going over the 3 mark. So they barely avoided that.
And they faced some tough pitching. I mean,
that's true.
The Yankees only gave up 3 for the first time yesterday. They've given up 0, 1, or 2 in every other game. So we've seen a lot of good pitching early in this season.
Usually do.
Second half of our Epic Padres Roundtable, we still have our 7th inning stretch, first one of the season coming up. But before we get to that, might as well, since we spent all spring discussing where Fernando Tatis Jr. should hit in the lineup, and now we've already seen first and second mostly. Obviously, he's not going to hit after 4th, but I'll let everyone get an opinion here. We'll start with Darnay. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th? What's the right spot for Fernando Tatis Jr. in the lineup?
I would say probably 1st. And, I think part of it is like, is there an obvious, there's a 2 hitter on the Padres. There's a 3 hitter on the Padres. There's probably a 4 hitter on the Padres. Is there another leadoff hitter on the Padres that you're like, this is a leadoff guy outside of Fernando Tatis Jr.? I don't know if we really have the answer. We've seen Jake Cronenworth. I'm very pro Jake getting that opportunity against righties and seeing what he can do. But I think it just makes sense given the collection of talent around him, what he provides, what he can do. Obviously, when he gets on base, the way he adjusted to that role last year and kind of the fear factor that he brings with the plate to start the game. I'm very interested. I mean, Craig, hinted at them experimenting and trying some things before opening day last week. And I'm curious what that might look like. but I'm also at peace with the fact that like it might just make the most sense to have Fernando Tatis Jr. sitting there at number 1.
That was a really good answer, actually.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Don't you think so, Matt? I mean, like, who else really should hit first other than Fernando Tatis Jr.? I saw some suggestion that you could try Ramon Laureano.
Yep.
Especially against lefties.
He's the only one hitting for power right now.
He's the only slug you have on the team.
Let's get him more ABs though.
Yeah, get him up
True.
higher in the lineup.
I definitely
can't hit 5th and 6th and 7th. Just can't. You can't.
But he is.
I know, but you can't. You can't do it.
I think you make a really good point, Darnay. There is no leadoff hitter that just jumps out at you. But I do want to try a little bit of Xander Bogaerts at the leadoff. I do maybe want to give more of Jake Cronenworth at the leadoff. I really want to see Fernando bat cleanup. And I was very excited going into this year because all indications were he was going to bat cleanup or at least lower in the lineup, and he's not. So I don't know what happened there, but if Fernando can be the guy that we know he is, he's a great leadoff hitter.
I think, though, and Fernando even said it, if your 7, 8, 9 guys are getting on a little bit more, then the first slot in the lineup is cleanup. And if you move Laureano up, you could have Xander and Jake and Fermin getting on base ahead of Fernando in the leadoff spot. And then he's a cleanup hitter kind of the rest of the game after the first time. But I think you bring up a good question, Woods. If you bring up Ramon Laureano, you kind of have to push someone else down. Is it Xander? I mean, Xander is frustrating in that when he's going, like, you want him to be up there, but then all of a sudden, and you can never predict really when Xander is going to be going or not.
Tearing the cover off the ball
The first
for the
3
5
games.
And then he wasn't for 3
yesterday,
games.
He dribbled 2 up the third base line with guys on base.
Brutal.
Smart as it turned out.
Yeah,
Yes, so you're right. You're right.
I mean, look, I even thought against the righty Jackson Merrill at the top strikes a little fear into the opposing pitcher as well. He can do it all. But I'm not married to any one lineup. I'd like to see Fernando have the ability to drive in runs in the first inning. I think that would be really great for this team, especially with our pitching woes. And I listened to a podcast yesterday, All the Smoke, and Kenny Lofton was on there, and he was talking about the art of the leadoff hitter and how it's kind of gone by the wayside. When you're batting Shohei first, you have the opportunity to get him 1 run, 1 hit, 1 RBI. When you're batting Aaron Judge first, same thing. He said, Kenny Lofton, probably should be in the Hall of Fame. He goes, I would be hitting 8, for all these teams. Nobody would put me up there. And it's a testament to how the game's changed, certainly. But yeah, man, I think I'd like Fernando to be able to drive the ball and drive runs in. 3-hole for me would be pretty solid.
Chris, your thoughts on lineup construction and really the Stammen philosophy of, at least early in the season, we're going to keep playing with it until we feel like maybe we've locked something in.
I'm just going to my blanket what'd you say?
I said save that. Save that clip of him talking about keep playing with it and keep playing with it.
Until you lock it in.
Yeah. Paulie, if you're listening, 9:36.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Let me let that sit for a moment. I think lineup construction is slightly overrated. I don't want to go deep into that comment. I think we talk about it way too much.
We do.
If all 9 guys were hitting, it really wouldn't matter where they're hitting.
Yeah.
And if all 9 guys don't hit, it doesn't matter where they're hitting. Secondly, I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks this, but I believe that in our mind somewhere we all think Fernando Tatis Jr. is a 40-40 guy.
Yes.
He is not.
Could be.
He did it one time with the 40 home runs. He has not been close to that since. His slug is nowhere near what it was 3 or 4 years ago. So that's why I don't mind putting him up at the top, because I salivated him being 3rd and 4th and driving and knocking the ball off the wall. I don't know that he does that as much as I think everyone else thinks he does it.
A quick thought. You mentioned Jackson Merrill, right?
I did, yeah.
You mentioned Jackson. That intrigues me a good amount. And even what we saw in the first inning, he did not hit leadoff, but he got on base You know what he can do. Once he's on base, he's aggressive, he's fast, he's fearless. Manny Machado has the dribbler. It gets away, and Jackson scores a run. Like, he's got some of that leadoff hitter energy to him, that youthfulness. I think if he needed to adjust his approach, like, he'll do whatever you need him to do. And I think in terms of, like, energy, attitude, like, Jackson brings some of that, and I'd be really curious, obviously, primarily against righties, but then what order do you then put Tatis and Manny, and then do you have Ramon Laureano as your cleanup hitter? Like that really interests me, what that could potentially look
Merrill,
like.
Laureano, Tatis, Manny.
I don't have the numbers in front of him. My guess is Jackson Merrill sees quite a few less pitches than a guy like Jake Cronenworth.
But is that imperative?
It's not imperative, but
talk about it like
when
it is.
Jackson Merrill has a bad at bat, it's either first or second pitch, roll over, or 1, 2, 3, strike out quickly and he's gone. When Jake Cronenworth has a bad at bat, it's oftentimes 9 pitches and he strikes out, but he fouled off 4 or 5 along the way before he got there, which is kind of valuable for everyone to see the pitcher to start a game.
Talked about that too yesterday on that podcast, and how he's like, these guys now, they go up, they rip first pitch and they hit a bomb and great, everyone's happy. He goes, I knew I had to give Baerga and all the guys behind me a chance to see what this pitcher has, and I had to go up there. He goes, I was an unselfish player in that I would go up and stare at someone where I could have absolutely hacked first pitch. He goes, but back then they would have murdered me. They would have killed me for hacking first pitch. Like, I would have gotten killed by Jim Tomei and Carlos Baerga. They'd be like, bro, what are you doing? One pitch, one out. Albert Bell. Like,
that would scare me into taking a pitch.
One pitch, one out. What are you doing, man? Your job is to see and work the count. And, obviously baseball's changed a lot since then.
But that's the thing with Jackson. He is young. He is coachable. If they said, hey, we want you to do this, but this is the approach you're going to need in these at-bats. Because Fernando obviously made that adjustment last year, but did it cost him some of his Fernando-ness?
Yes.
Jackson Merrill, we haven't seen him at 40 home runs. You know what I mean? I don't know if he would have to change who he is quite to that degree that Fernando seemingly did, with him being fairly young in his career and, being a coachable player that seems to want to do whatever the manager asks of him. I'd be curious if they said, this is what we're going to try and this is what we need to see from you, how that could look. Because you're right, like, maybe he hasn't approached his at-bats like a leadoff hitter, but maybe that's in there. I'd be curious.
During spring training, I remember Jackson saying that he needed to take more pitches. He wanted to walk a little bit more, but he's also a baseball player, so he wants to hit the baseball.
Yeah.
But was it Tuesday night against Ryan Walker when he hit the home run in the 9th inning? He had a really great at bat.
Yeah, he did.
It was like 8 or 9 pitches. He took the last one deep. He took some close pitches. He was able to work the count. If he could do that and he could do more of that, I mean, I would love to see Jackson at the top. I'm a huge fan of Jackson.
Spark plug.
Spark plug. And anytime he's on base, he can do anything he needs to do.
We are 6.5 innings into our first Epic Roundtable of the season, sponsored by Epic Wings, always fresh, never frozen, which means it's time for our first 7th inning stretch, a little non-baseball topic for the panel. And in honor of our new sponsor, the question today, and Matt, I'll let you go first. What's the best flavor of chicken wing? And do you prefer flats, drums, or boneless?
I'm not going to say the term that I said on the show last week, but I am a boneless guy. I think that eating wings off of, and I'm not saying that, I know everybody loves wings. Epic Wings makes great boneless wings and strips, but I think eating wings is disgusting. I have seen people look like cave people doing this. Is it Ben? Is Ben the cave person?
God.
Does this apply to ribs as well?
Yeah. Anything on a bone.
Bone.
I just, it goes back to when I was a kid. I bit into a bone and it broke in my mouth. Anyway,
we all have trauma.
Yeah, I don't know how I got to this point in this conversation, but this flavoring, I would have to say, I love like a spicy mango type of
like a mango habanero or something like that.
I like the spicy type of flavor, but the mango
fruity
helps.
as well.
Yes.
Woods, flats, drums, boneless.
Always drums. I don't like peeling that apart. I like the dip and bite. And I've grown out of my buffalo phase, and I'm in strictly like salt and pepper or naked or lemon pepper.
Okay,
I like
dry
the,
rubs.
I like the
rather
dry
than
rubs
saucy
rather
wings.
than I don't like the mess.
Well, they have
anymore.
both at Epic. We have them right here, so you
I
get
don't
both
like the
choices.
mess anymore. I
Okay.
don't. I think it's from having kids. It's like let's keep it as simple as we can, right? Like everything's simple. So I think, but I just murdered a couple of those lemon peppers and they were fantastic.
All right, Darnay, wing opinions.
I just love a good buffalo wing, man. I know there's a million flavors and maybe it's just overwhelming to me. I love like a good buffalo sauce. And I think the flats, I mean, I could go either way with this. You get that big like nugget on the top of the drum. That's just magical.
I love that nugget, man.
It's just magical.
But I also like when you can kind of pop that little, you have the two bones of the flat, you pop that meat out the middle.
Oh my God.
It's beautiful. So I'd go with the flat, just buffalo. Traditional.
Chris, you've eaten a few wings in your time.
Yeah, I don't like to waste time with any of the bones, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Another boneless guy.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
don't care
wings.
for
That's
that.
not wings.
They're
Fine.
nuggets.
Fine.
What are you talking about? Every time I see you eat wings, it's like a cartoon where you stick it in and you pull it out and
That's-
that's just bone.
That's a skill.
That's Benny.
No, I don't have a choice. If all we have is bone
Bone in.
available, then
But you prefer
I'll
boneless.
eat them. Yes, I
Oh,
do.
I
And
did not know
they have a
this.
new maple sauce, syrup sauce thing that I'm
Sweet and
looking at
spicy
over.
maple. Yeah.
Man, that looks great. That looks right up at kind of a sugary sauce. I'm good with that.
All right, I'm gonna offend a little bit here because I certainly understand and feel for Matt. You know, you bite into a bone, you've got some trauma. Boneless is very convenient and easy, but for people who really aren't lazy, the flat is the best by far most tender tasting chicken wing that you're going to get, even better than the drum. Yes, it could get in your teeth and it can be a bit of a pain, but if you want the best tasting chicken wing, and if I'm going to eat chicken wings, I want it to be as good as it possibly can. That's going to be your best bite you're possibly going to get. Is
It's got
the flat,
that loose. It's got that loose skin on it, with
which
those
is so
bumps on it.
tender.
It's disgusting.
It is absolutely perfect.
Ooh.
And while I love
Thank you,
a
Woods.
classic buffalo sauce, I am pretty addicted to the sweet Thai chili
That is good,
sauce.
too.
So that one's a really good one as well. They've got over a dozen different proprietary sauces at Epic Wings, and coming up on Monday for the, as it says here, final hoops game, because I can't say what it actually is. Buy one single meal, get the second one free, available all day, not just in store but online as well. So if you're watching the game,
what is they calling the game Monday
the
night?
final
Super Bowl?
the final hoops game. What? No,
No, it's not the Super Bowl.
no, not that at all.
I figured
So-
I could use that term now since I can't use it when it's
The
actually-
Smashinal Schmampians.
All right, back to
The
Padres
final
for the final 10 minutes here of our roundtable. Got a little positivity, obviously, yesterday, but what sign, Chris, are you looking for that will tell you that the Padres have gotten on track? Like, what particular sign or signs are you going to see? Okay, now this is the team that they need to be. What are you watching
Well, I
for?
need less strikeouts and I need more balls on a line drive over the infielders' heads and into the gaps. I don't ever think they're going to be a bomb home run team. I like what you guys were talking about, pulling the ball to the left side. I just don't think that we got a bunch of guys who do that consistently. But the best version of the Padres I've seen the last couple of years are still the guys going right center to left center and hitting line drives and bouncing them against the wall, but making more contact. If they're going to strike out as many times as they are right now, then they better start hitting some home runs. And I don't think they're going to hit the home runs. So I need to just see some good line drive hitting, some double figure hit games. And I think they'll be all right.
For me, sometimes baseball doesn't work very well. I have a very logical brain, as Woods knows. And hitting with runners in scoring position is
Unbelievable.
such a roller coaster and so unpredictable. And it's also
Did you bring up roller coaster, Mike Schilt? Careful.
You're allowed now.
It's the most important thing, though, really, to baseball success. And until the Padres start getting some hits consistently with runners in scoring position, you're never really going to have
We're
success.
at 208 this year. That's good for us.
But it's been a couple of years. It's like, okay, well, they had bad last year. It should be popping up back this year. But if you keep kind of going on the downside of baseball when it comes to that RISP stat, you're never going to get your offensive numbers to where you want them to be.
Yeah.
They've got to hit when runners are on second and third base, Darnay. It's not going to be successful any other way.
It still wasn't great yesterday.
Yeah,
no.
They left second and third 3 times yesterday.
I think that's a great call because, historically awful in 2023, good in 2024. Last year, not very good in those situations. I think we talked about the pull side power. I think that's one. Runners in scoring position. I mean, these are all the things that we've talked about last season. And I think, again, there's so many, there are points in the last week where I was kind of having 2025 flashbacks where it's just sawed off pitch, dribbler, slow roller, little floater, hope for a bloop, hope it finds room. And just like, this isn't who this cannot possibly be who this team is, given the collection of bats. And so I think, yesterday they hit the ball harder, they hit the ball on the line, they got contributions up and down the order. RISP wasn't what you wanted to be necessarily, but they got the job done. So I think it's some kind of smattering of those things. And I think one of the big issues was just the lack of depth in the lineup those first 5 games. They had it yesterday. I think that's more along the lines of what we expected with Andujar, France, Castellanos, etc. Those guys, I mean, over 13 for Sheets to start. There was some collection of them that was like 2 for 41 to start. It was just rough, and you don't expect to see that. And so Wednesday was an encouraging sign in a number of facets.
Yeah, Woods, I made the point on our show that Gavin Sheets is sneakily one of the most pivotal players the Padres have, because he's your only real left-handed power threat. Jackson can hit home runs, but in the middle of the line, it makes such a difference. If he does anything good, like he did against the Giants in the last game, Padres can score runs at will with the driving in runs, starting with a double, whatever, because he's got plenty around him. When he does nothing, it ends every rally that you got started, or it doesn't start a rally that you needed to get started. Gavin Sheets is such a critical player for the Padres.
He really is. And back to your question of what I need to see, man, the rollovers, the weak rollovers, and really start punishing mistakes again. That you have guys that have the ability. Xander can punish a mistake. Manny has made a career of punishing mistakes, right? Like, how do you get Manny Machado out? You throw sliders away. But if you hang one, it's gone. It's like I've never seen anybody better. Last couple of years, it's gone away a little bit. So once this team starts punishing mistakes and knocking guys around like they're capable of doing, that's when I will believe. But they have missed, 30 hangers this year already. It's only been 6 games. So start punishing mistakes, and this team will be fine.
Matt, your sign that the Padres will be locked in.
When Fernando Tatis Jr. hits a home run, that's when I feel like they'll be locked in. No, I think once they start slugging more consistently, and once they like Darnay said, it's so hard to watch the weak dribblers, errors that allow them to get runs. It's just so hard to watch that sort of offense. So once they start hitting the ball with a little bit more authority and getting on base, I think that's when they're back.
Padres heading to Boston, their opening day at Fenway Park, first of 3. Good hitters park, PNC, pretty good hitters park as well. But I didn't get the sense, I don't know if anyone wants to chime in, the Padres offensive struggles weren't Petco Park related. Sometimes they are, man, there's another warning track fly out at Petco Park.
No, it was not that.
I didn't get the sense that the offensive struggles really had anything to do with Petco Park. So I'm not expecting a magic turnaround on the road here.
Well, you're also going to get Garrett Crochet, right?
No, you're missing Crochet. He pitched yesterday, but you are getting Paul Skeens.
They finally are going to get Paul Skeens. I did note that.
30-degree weather with snow flurries on Tuesday. That sounds like it's going to sting
I think another thing that you guys we might want to say to where we know that the team is going a little is, as you pointed out, it's understandable to get shut down by Skubal, Valdez, even Logan Webb. But we got to stop making Landon Roop look like Logan Webb. We got to stop making Jack Flaherty look like, Skubal. I mean, when you get some of these 4 or 5 guys, you got to, do some damage.
Well, look what the Giants did to ours. You have that opportunity there's blood in the water with that 4th and 5th starter. Go get it. You guys make way too much money to not go get it against those guys.
I also think one sign will be when there's guys like jumping over the dugout rail and we're seeing celebrations in the dugout and there's energy pouring out. Tatis, what did he say? First day back, I'm going to bring that WBC energy to the Padres clubhouse. I get it. Hard to sustain that for 6 months. Yeah. I don't know that we have seen that yet so far this season. It would have been nice to see it like once or twice, like first series. but that's going to be part of it as well. Like, there is an excitement level that builds that is irresistible and fuels Petco Park. And, you know,
That
showed up a little bit yesterday, but like, I want to see that exuberance. That's when you know for sure that this team is rolling.
That's a topic maybe for a different roundtable, because there's no switch you can flip.
Right.
That's called energy. And we're bringing it today. There would have been plenty of energy at Petco Park if Fernando had a 2-homer game, but until you hit and create those moments,
there's a little fake it till you make it, isn't there?
I don't think you can fake it in baseball. You have to have the organic electricity, and then let it, like when Jackson Merrill caught robbed the home run.
That was electric.
And then he acted electrically after it was done. But you need the moment. Jackson can't just make mean mug around, and all of a sudden that changes the electricity at Petco Park.
Hitting the ball, running down the line, and turning right with your head down when you get to the dugout.
Never going to be electric.
Doesn't really excite anybody.
It's true.
And we did a lot of that this week.
Darnay Tripp, thank you for being our first guest panelist on the Padres Roundtable. We will be back next week with a new guest panelist scheduled to appear. Mark Mudcat Grant next week on the Padres Roundtable. So we will look forward to that. Thank you again to our new sponsor, Epic Wings. This would be a great weekend to try and watch some baseball and bring some wings home, or go at any of their 31 locations across Southern California. We're going to eat some of the wings and the great breadsticks that they have right now. For Matt Scraby, Stephen Woods, Darnay Tripp, Chris Ello, I'm Ben Higgins. Thank you for joining us on the Epic Roundtable here on 97.3 The Fan.